Hi guys, today I want to show you how you can transfer a round cake like this into a beautiful heart-shaped cake. It's really easy and you only need a template for that. This template can be found down below in the video description. You can use this method with any round cake that you're making, but today I also wanted to share with you a delicious chocolate cream cake recipe. It's a really easy to make, quick to make chocolate cake, and it's so chocolatey. Everyone who loves chocolate will love this cake. You can decorate the cake whichever way you like. I have decorated my cake this time with this kind of writing, and I will show you how to do it in the video as well. Let's get started with the recipe. For the cake layer, you will need softened butter, sugar, vanilla paste, pinch of salt, buttermilk, all-purpose flour, cocoa powder, baking powder, and 2 eggs. First, you want to combine the softened butter, the vanilla paste, a pinch of salt, and the sugar in a big bowl and beat it with a mixer for about 3 to 5 minutes until it's soft and pale and fluffy. Then you want to start adding the eggs, and you want to add in the eggs one at a time, beating in between each addition for about 30 seconds to 1 minute until everything is combined. After you've added the second egg and mixed it in, the mixture should look like this. It should be soft and fluffy and pale. Then you want to combine the flour with the cocoa powder and the baking powder. Give it a short mix. Then you want to add about 1/3 of your dry ingredients through a sieve into a batter and mix with a mixer on the lowest setting just shortly until everything is almost combined. Then you want to add about half of your buttermilk and continue mixing on the lowest setting until almost combined. After that, you want to repeat adding 1/3 of the dry ingredients through a sieve and mixing again on the lowest setting until almost combined. Repeat the steps until you've added all of the buttermilk and all of your dry ingredients. After adding the last bit of the dry ingredients, again mix only shortly until almost combined and continue mixing with a spatula, making sure that everything is well mixed. This is how your batter should look like once it's ready. Then you want to cover the bottom of your cake tin with parchment paper, butter it well, and transfer your batter into the cake tin. Now even it out to cover the bottom of your cake tin and bake according to the baking instructions found down below in the video description. Before you remove the cake base from the oven, you want to test with a wooden skewer that it's baked through. Then allow it to cool for about 15 minutes in the cake tin, after which you want to remove it from the cake tin and allow it to cool completely on a cooling rack. What I like to do before I leave it to cool is to flip the cake base upside down so that if it has a slight dough, it will have time to correct it slightly while cooling. Once your cake layer has cooled, you can start making the cream. For the cream, you need cream cheese, whipping cream, cocoa powder, powdered sugar, cream stabilizer, and vanilla sugar. You want to start by shortly beating the cream, then you want to combine the vanilla sugar with the cream stabilizer, continue whisking the cream and add in the mix of the cream stabilizer and vanilla sugar. After that, you want to beat the cream until stiff peaks. Now combine the cream cheese with powdered sugar and beat with the mixer until nice and smooth. If you're going to decorate the cake with some writing, you want to leave about 2 to 3 tablespoons of this white cream aside. If you're not planning to decorate your cake with writing, you can skip this part. Then add in the cocoa powder through a sieve and beat again until everything is combined. What I also like to do is to shortly mix with a spatula, just making sure that everything is combined. After that, you want to start adding in the whipping cream. You want to add the whipping cream in 2 additions and mix it in with a spatula. I prefer to mix in the whipping cream with a spatula because I find that it gives the cream a nice airiness. However, if you like, you can also mix it in with a mixer. If you've started preparing your cream before your cake layer has completely cooled, you can leave the cream in the fridge until you need it. Once the cake layer has completely cooled, we need to start by dividing it into 2 even pieces. The easiest way to do that is to run the knife along the edge of the cake like I'm showing you here in the video, and only after you've gone through the whole edge of the cake, run the knife through the whole cake base. This way you will have a really nice and even cake layer. Then leave the top cake layer aside, add about half of the cream on top of the bottom layer and even it out to have a nice and thick layer of cream. While doing that, you want to make sure to push the cream right until the edges of the cake layer, or you can even push it slightly over the edge. This will make it easier for you to cover the cake with the cream. Then add the second layer of cake on top, push it just slightly into the cream and even out the edges. If you will notice that you have some gaps in between the cake layers, just fill those gaps with some more cream. Once you've made sure that the sides are well covered with the cream, you can move to cutting the cake into shape. To make this job easier for you, I'm providing you with a template. You can find this template linked down below in the video description. It is a round template and you will need to cut these parts off. After that, you want to use the template to mark these spots on your cake and cut these pieces with a sharp knife. After you've cut these pieces off, you want to shortly set them aside and have a look that you have enough space at the top of your cake. If you don't, then you want to slightly move your cake a little bit downward so that you have enough space for these pieces that we are going to attach soon. Then you want to cover the top of the cake with a good layer of cream. This is where we are going to attach the pieces. Then just place the pieces that we have cut out onto your cake and check that they're placed nicely in the middle, and then you can just attach them like I'm showing in the video. Don't worry if they break a little while you're doing this, you can cover that with the cream later and no one will know. Once you've attached the pieces, the first thing you want to do is to cover the attached pieces or the attached places where the cake bits meat with some more cream. This will help to keep the bits attached. Then you want to cover the cake with a thin layer of cream, a so-called crumb coat. While you're doing this, just make sure that all of the parts that have been attached are also well covered with the cream, so that you have no gaps. Once you've covered the cake with this first layer of cream, you want to chill it in the fridge for about half an hour to 1 hour. After you've chilled your cake, you want to continue covering the cake with the rest of the cream. While doing that, you can also even out any uneven sides and sharpen any edges. The easiest way to achieving even sides and sharp edges is using a scraper tool. Of course, if you don't have a scraper tool, you can also just use a knife or a offset spatula or any other spatula. But from my experience, the easiest and quickest way to get a nice and smooth cake is with a scraper tool. What you want to do is add a thick layer of cream with a spatula and then even it out with the scraper tool. If after evening the cream with the scraper tool you will notice that you still have some gaps in your cream, then you just want to fill those gaps with a little more extra cream and even out again using the scraper tool. Also, what you want to do is to clean the scraper tool after each time you've evened out the cream. After I had my my sides ready, I noticed that my cake is not quite even from the top, so I added some cream to the parts that were slightly lower and even the cream according to the part that was slightly higher. So just want to place cream at the part or at that bit where it's lower and then compare it to the higher part. Here you also want to push the cream right until the edges of the cake so you can then even it out with the scraper tool. Here you don't want to add any extra cream on the sides, you just want to run the scraper tool to remove any excess of the sides where you've added the cream. Then if you notice that the edges are not quite straight, then you want to run with the offset spatula to just smoothen any of the edges. Then I noticed that this edge bit here was not as sharp as I would have liked it to be. So I wanted to show you how you can fix that really easily. You just add a dollop of cream and smoothen it out again with the scraper tool. And easy as that, you have a nice and sharp edge. Once your cake is nicely covered with the cream, you can start decorating the cake. I'm going to show you how you can do writing on the cake. First thing I'm going to do is mark the spots where I want the writing to go. I'm doing that with a wooden skewer and the help of my template, marking some dots where I want the writing to go. Once I have the writing, I can write on those small dots and nobody will know that they existed. Then you want to fill your white cream into a piping bag and you can start doing the writing. If this is the first time you're writing on a cake, I would suggest for you to practice on a plate first. You can practice with the whole of the cream that you have here because you can reuse this cream after you've done practicing. So don't worry, none of that cream will go to waste. Once you're ready to write on the cake, you want to take it really slow. If this helps, you can also hold the hand that is writing with the other hand for some stabilizing. This is something that I always do and this really helps me while writing on the cake. After I had all my writing done, I decided to decorate the cake with some hearts. I really enjoyed making this cake and even though the design is quite simple, I absolutely loved it. I like this kind of simple designs that are quite easy to make, but I would love to hear whether you also like this kind of simple cakes or you prefer advanced decorating methods. Let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and I hope it was helpful for you. To use this method to transfer a round cake into a heart-shaped cake, you need a specific kind of cream. I used a cream cheese cream today and because of the structure of the cream, it holds the pieces together and it's great for covering the cake as well. You can also use any kind of buttercream to make this cake or you can also use a chocolate ganache. I would not recommend to use any softer creams like a fresh cream to cover this cake because it will not hold the pieces together. What you can do if you want to cover the cake with fresh cream, you can fill the cake and kind of glue the pieces together with another cream and then just decorate the outer layer with the fresh cream. If you are looking for some buttercream recipes, I will link all my buttercream recipes for you here. I made this cake to celebrate our 13-year anniversary and I thought I will show you a old picture of us, a really old picture of us. It's a really cute photo that I didn't even know that exists after years after it was taken. This is when we met. It's not 13 years ago, I'm not that young anymore. It's over 20 years ago, that's when we met and had our first dance. And last year we had our wedding celebration and we redid a dance. Luckily not this dance because I was not really good back then, but I will show you a small bit of the dance over here. This cake is something you can make to celebrate an anniversary, to celebrate Valentine's Day, which is coming soon, or if you just want to make a special cake for a loved one. You can decorate this cake whichever way you like. I decided to decorate it this time with my favorite saying out of Harry Potter, and I really like how the cake turned out. It's very simple but still really beautiful. And now I can't wait to cut into the cake and have some of this delicious chocolate cake with a cup of coffee. It has been filling our fridge with the amazing chocolate scent for all of yesterday, and we really can't wait to have a piece. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and I hope you found it helpful. If you like this video, then don't forget that thumbs up for support. And also, if you're new to my channel, then you can subscribe right now and don't forget to tap the bell so you won't miss any of my new videos. Thank you for watching my video. Bye bye until next time.